and
We're
these are
all
my
Adam.
co-hosts, Adam and also Adam.
It's my dog, Adam.
Yeah. And we're here to talk about some video games.
Thanks for coming in, everyone. Much appreciated.
Yeah, very stoked. Very stoked. How have you guys been? It's been a couple weeks since we've had a podcast because of the holidays and such.
Yeah, sorry about that, everyone.
Hey, it's okay,
some
man.
families.
I was having a crazy week.
It actually worked out really well
family
for
and
me,
stuff.
too.
It worked out
Okay.
well
Phew.
for me too. So
I
yeah.
thought we were
was
going to be able to do it, and I was at the airport. I was like, oh. Bad timing.
that would have been hilarious, though.
I
honestly.
know. Yeah, it would have been. Yeah, I think like the end of it would have been me on a plane. I'm like, oh, this is probably not gonna work
They're
out.
like, sir, put your thing down. He's like, one more minute. It
One
cuts
more,
away.
I'm talking about the best game. We're getting
Right.
to the best one.
That's hilarious. That would have been really good. So next time you're traveling, we'll do that.
Yes.
Oh my God, Lord Yeshua is hosting us. Thank you
Oh,
so
wow,
much.
good.
Wow.
What a
That's
cool guy.
amazing. Oh, he sounds real cool and
He
cute.
does sound like a good guy. Did you guys play any games over the last couple weeks?
I haven't been playing anything at all.
Really?
I mean,
Yeah, I'm not kidding.
Dang, that's
a little
rough.
bit of like Mario Maker. I made a few levels. That was pretty fun over Christmas break. Colin, I'm glad to play those.
I know.
No one's even taking the world record. It's like boring in there. What's up, Dutchy?
Hey, it's Dutchy.
But aside from that, like, yeah, a few Cuphead levels and like, I haven't really played anything. Yeah, I need to play like a game.
Mm-hmm.
I need something real to come out,
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
Dark Souls 4.
I don't know.
or
There's
like Final Fantasy 7. I don't know. I
Yeah.
played it though. It's like the whole story I know. You know,
That's what I hear.
That's
Oh,
what- it's a remake. So
yeah.
from one of the best games ever. But
Yeah, honestly. That's supposedly. Let's see. What games did I play? I played
Yeah, let's
Cuphead
play.
for the first
So
time ever.
good. Thoughts on? How
I
far did you
love
get?
it. I love it. It was I was getting a little frustrated with
What? That game?
no, well, not with the game because I expected
Just
that,
kidding.
honestly. To be
Yeah.
honest, and I know this is like shitty of a streamer to do. I was getting a little frustrated with chat because there was a lot of like misleading, like, oh, buy this item,
Oh,
this is the
yeah.
best. I buy that item and it's
Oh,
the
when I
shittiest
came in and
thing
someone
ever.
was like, Colin, hear this. Someone told him
lobber.
to buy the lobber.
Yeah.
And then when I came in, they were like, I was fucking around. Like I trolled him. And I was like, dude, you're an asshole. Like,
Yeah.
Nice.
And
say
so
that, sorry. felt
I
so
was
bad
one
'cause I was
coin
like,
off.
oh,
I was one coin off from buying something that was actually valuable.
like the spread shot. Or no, you had that.
No, I
So
had
it was
that.
like the
Um,
roundabout. I was thinking
yeah.
if it was good for you and you couldn't
Yeah.
get that. or something.
But we can talk about that more a little later because
Anyway.
that is actually our game of the week. So
It was. Yes.
so we'll talk about that more a little later. But yeah, needless to say, I was by the end of that playthrough, I was a little salty, and it wasn't it wasn't the game. So
Yeah. Did it make you feel a little stronger though, pushing through those levels though that you
Yeah.
did succeed on?
yeah. Oh yeah. No, that's the game itself. I think is a lot of fun, and I think it's the right amount of difficulty, to be honest. So
Okay. We'll touch on
Um,
that later. Yeah.
so
How
yeah.
far did you get? What island did you get to?
Curious.
I was on still the first island. I couldn't beat the stupid
That's
flower
good.
fuck.
What?
That dude is a hard boss. You know,
I
that's
got
hard.
so close. I can't tell you how close I was, but again, I was honey dicked into
the
picking
lobber.
the wrong weapon.
That sucks.
Early
that makes a
on,
big
and
difference,
so-
actually. Honestly,
Yeah.
spread shot would have been nice to have.
Well, I did have the
Yeah.
spread shot.
Spread
so-
and like, I don't know
Beating
what
him
else.
with
And
the
the
P is
tracker.
hard.
Yeah.
Beating him with the P is really hard. The
Right,
chaser
right.
is hard in the fights where there's a bunch of enemies because then it like tracks onto other enemies.
Yeah, well, the chaser was actually doing pretty well for me for the most part because part of the problem that I was having was we should talk about this later, but let me just finish the thought.
Paul and Josh are not the same person.
It's true. We're not the same person. Do we
That's
come
all
off
right.
as the same person?
I think seeing us in the same spot is maybe the belief.
Okay,
now,
there you
or
go.
not. I don't know. Yeah.
I had a
Three
roommate
good-looking guys.
that was a
Ooh.
ghost. I can
What?
tell you about that more some other time. But anyway,
Let's pin that
the
one
spread
for sure.
shot though, it allowed me to focus on like dodging shit on one side of the map while also being able to manage where the actual boss
Yeah.
was gonna come across from. So just because it's very like visually noisy.
Yes.
So
that's the whole point. Yeah.
right.
Yeah,
Like
it's just crazy.
it definitely does the hey, look over here, and I'm gonna smash you from over here.
Yeah. So
So
the
that came
roundabout
out.
is really good in the beginning because you can just face
Yeah.
like and run away, and it
Right.
comes back around.
Right.
Anyway,
Anywho, and then I also played Jedi Fallen Order for the first time, which I'm very stoked about. I'm probably gonna play more of that on Monday on my stream. I'm excited about that.
Check that out.
Very cool.
Hey,
So
everybody.
yeah. Oh, facial hair clones. Okay, that's what it is.
All of us,
Yeah.
definitely. Yeah, we used the cloning machine earlier to make
That
sure
is
they
what we
match
did.
with us.
Mhm.
Yeah.
If only I could clone his top hair. that
my
part
top
didn't work.
hair? Oh,
Yeah.
Don't worry. Soon I'll have cloned yours.
Nice.
Give it a few years.
That's funny. Well, we have a lot to talk about. Not a whole
Yeah,
lot of
we're
news,
excited.
which I think is actually good. We want to kind of steer away from
more
that.
meat that we're excited about.
We got some cool topics this week, so
Yeah.
let's just hop into the news and we can work our way through that and then talk about some other fun stuff.
Yeah. News is easy today.
Yeah. So the PS5 reveal could be as soon as Monday. This is basically based on some kind of hinting that Sony has done. They posted an image on Twitter saying #Sony CES. The future is coming. A couple other kind of vague
So
posts.
it'll probably be Christmas, right? Yeah.
Well, they've already confirmed that it's gonna be like holiday season next year, right?
It's so soon.
But
It's
we
crazy.
haven't. It's this year, I guess. Shit, it's 2020, guys.
That's
Oh, my
fast.
Lord.
That's
Yeah.
they're money making.
We made it.
Yeah.
We made it, guys.
We did
Nice.
it. We're in the future. So yeah, we'll see that. But they haven't done an official reveal yet, right? So potentially we'll see that. CES starts Monday, so maybe as soon as Monday.
Yeah.
Pretty cool.
He says, didn't they do a PS9 commercial? Yeah. So one of the Super Bowls back in the day, it was for like the PS3 or 2.
Yeah.
And it was like PS9. It was a guy with gloves and a helmet. And it
Mhm.
was like, but that's like really what it is now.
Yeah,
it was like
kind
a
of is.
joke. And then in the corner, it was like PS3. But it was
Yeah.
like, yeah.
Funny you mentioned that, actually. I didn't put this in the news, but PS5, some new patents were found for VR and AR, and they are some like gesture control patents and such.
Wow. It's gonna be intense.
So
Some new motion stuff.
yeah. So to me, it kind of seemed a lot like the what was it? The Xbox. What was the camera called on the Xbox?
Oh,
Yeah.
the PSI.
I can't remember what
No, I'm sorry.
The
The
Xbox.
Kinect.
The Kinect. It
Kinect.
seemed kind of Kinect-y, but the
Yeah.
patents were specific about VR and AR, virtual reality and augmented reality.
That's awesome.
So yeah.
Sweet.
So we could be
See
seeing
some
something
fun
cool with
stuff.
that. There's definitely, even though the virtual reality device that came out for the PS4 is going to be compatible with the PS5, I guarantee you they're gonna come out with like a PSVR 2,
Yeah.
just because like they're still the most sold VR system on the market.
Yeah.
So.
I'm
That's
thinking they
crazy.
should include it so that like make it like a $600 console that includes a VR, and then everyone plays VR and is addicted to the PS5 then from then on. And they have these new VR controls. Dude, it could be. Or they could be like a shitty $400 version and you're just like, cool, no VR. But you know
Yeah,
what I mean?
maybe.
Like, it could be like it's infused within it so that everyone is like, oh, well, for 200 more bucks, I could like have VR built into it. And it just
That'd
like,
be cool. I'd love to see more VR. In fact,
Yeah.
VR is actually doing pretty well now. Apparently,
I think
over
it's
this
good,
holiday season, actually did really well. A lot of
Oh.
good sales.
I expect to higher sales from here on out. Yeah, for all VR platforms. Yeah.
Yeah.
It'll probably dip and then go up, but it'll be an overall up climb, up
Right.
incline.
Right.
Yeah, it'll be like, but overall it will have gone up. Yeah.
I hope so. I really do hope so. I think VR is still viable, but we'll see what happens.
Unless there's a nuclear apocalypse that sets everything back, and then the NES is the newest console, then yeah, I think it'll be.
There you
Wouldn't
go.
it
That's
be
the
so
future
awesome
we
to, like,
want.
see it all over
honestly.
again. Yeah,
Yeah.
like we're like
But
we reset.
I think that actually, even if like we were left with some of the geniuses of today, we'd still be able to recreate a lot of the newer stuff. Like people would be like, "Oh, I want to make video games." It wouldn't start with like an NES. Like our people today know how to like make something.
Yeah,
fancy,
definitely.
Yeah, It wouldn't take as long to restart, I feel like, as it used to.
Well, we have like
Well,
at least
it
a
depends
whole-
on how big of a gap there is between us being able to bring technology back online and us losing it.
Depends
right?
on how
So-
wiped out we are.
Because there will be, yeah, exactly.
We
That's,
still have
that's
YouTube,
exactly
you
right.
know?
Do we still have anything at all? Like, is literally no houses?
Like if
and,
it's
nothing
me,
left
if
on
it's me
Earth?
that's left and people with my same capacity, it's gonna be
Yeah.
a fucking while, guys. You know what I'm saying?
saying?
Like-
No, what?
Yeah,
We're the smart ones, believe it or not.
yeah.
It's
Uh
bad
Nice.
out there. It's bad. Sorry, guys.
Like,
funny.
no video games today.
No, good thing I have my Game Boy.
It dies.
Oh
There's the
no,
one in
that'd be terrible. That would
There's
break
the
my
one
heart.
in the Nintendo Museum that survived Afghanistan, and it was like
Oh, it's all
blown apart,
melted and
it's,
shit,
like,
yeah.
rebuilt though, and it shows like a game playing on it automatically.
Yeah,
That's
They
funny.
like reformed it. Like
Yeah.
can't kill it. Can't kill Nintendo.
It cannot die.
They
It
are
can
pretty
never
awesome.
die.
Yeah.
So, do you guys know who Vince Zampella is?
Showing a boop beep. Nope.
Nope.
Nope. No idea.
Okay, he's the CEO of Respawn. Respawn's the company
Probably my
that
best
made
friend.
they made the Titanfall games. They
Okay.
made the new Star Wars game,
Ooh.
whatever Last Jedi or whatever Jedi Fallen Order, the game that I'm playing right now.
Oh, it's pretty good, right?
I actually really like it so far.
I've heard nothing
um,
but good things.
Yeah,
I've heard
it's
it's a little clunky control.
it's a little clunky. That's so
Yeah.
going from Sekiro, which has like
flawless control.
razor sharp controls,
Yeah.
to Fallen Order. I
It's like
definitely
throwing a Jedi like a slinky down a hallway.
yeah it's a little rough, but it's still it's
Right?
definitely playable. It's not.
He did not disagree.
Oh, that's yeah. No, that's what it feels like. You're right. Very
that's
accurate.
rough. But I
Um,
heard it's gorgeous and amazing lore. So
it is. Yeah. So far, it's a lot of fun, and like I said, it's not
It's
like
fun.
completely game breaking. It's just a little frustrating. Like especially in like a difficult boss fight, you feel like it's a little unresponsive.
That's
And
shitty.
yeah,
Especially when the boss is like agile and like everything is like beautiful and animation is smooth, but then you are like not able to fully control yourself in that same capacity.
right. Yeah.
But
But it's fine. It's a fun game. Let's see what else.
Yeah.
They Apex Legends. They came out with Apex Legends as well. Anyway, the point is getting to the story here. Vince Zampella, the CEO of that, is taking over Dice LA's studio. Dice is the company that makes Star Wars Battlefront.
Oh.
Fix it.
So
cool.
it sounds
fix it.
like
They're gonna
you
fix
know,
it.
just based on maybe they're gonna fix it. Based on their success, you know, EA's like, hey, you're awesome, you're doing a really good job with Respawn, we're giving you Dice LA, and they're gonna do a total rebrand. So it's probably gonna be a completely new studio, to be honest. It's not even
Cool.
gonna be called Dice LA.
We'll probably just see Star Wars Battlefront and that's it on the next one instead of anything else because they've renamed it like so many times. We'll just see like a complete reboot probably.
Yeah,
Sweet.
maybe. I mean, kind of
Or
like
now
the
they're gonna kill it.
reboot that
Wouldn't
they
mind.
did. I don't think they're going
God
to
of
kill it. In
War.
fact, like Battlefront 2 is having a huge resurgence right now, which is
Really?
weird.
Really?
It really
it's
is.
very weird to me.
Yeah, it's
That's
very
Because
weird.
Star Wars is repopularizing because Skywalker was pretty awesome.
Yeah.
thought.
I liked it too. I actually
loved
liked it
it.
too.
I've
I
heard
didn't
mixed
love
reviews.
it, but
People-
yeah,
I heard mixed reviews, but did you see it, Colin?
No,
Did
I
you-
haven't.
You didn't
I'm
see
not
the
giving
last
my
one
opinion
either.
until I see it. Yeah, I haven't seen the last one either.
Good.
Ugh.
Don't see it. Actually, don't see the last one. Just see this. I'm
No,
not
here,
even
do
joking.
see the last one. Just
No,
skip. No. I'll tell you what to skip. You just
gonna
skip
hurt.
anything that is on the casino planet. You just skip over that. And
Maybe
it's
you just see
pretty good.
9 first and then see 8. And you're like, oh, it's like a prequel. I just don't want to ruin 9 for you.
Yeah.
Anyway, 9 was so good and 8 was. Shit.
9
It was mostly bad. It was maybe one of the worst. It was up there with episode 1.
So
too.
Oh no.
I did have some. I had some problems with episode 9, and here's what
I
they
know,
were.
of course. Me too.
The first 45 minutes
Should
is
we be spoiling?
so. I'm not going to give any spoilers. The first 45 minutes is very slapdash. Like it's hard to follow almost because they're trying to build. They're trying to build a story, right? Because episode 8 didn't give anything to go on, right? Like you could have ended the whole saga at the end of episode 8, theoretically speaking, you know.
Would have sucked.
Right. And then episode 9 is like, oh fuck, what are we gonna do? So they had to like throw a bunch of shit in there, like, hey, this is what was actually happening during that time.
I liked that.
And-
It's called like retcon or whatever.
Well, they didn't retcon it because they didn't like
Fan
say that
service.
shit didn't happen. They were just like, hey, we need to build
More
a story
shit.
real quick, you know?
Or
So-
shit to make the last shit that wasn't as good better, and like
Right.
basically, but it's so much because you have to then follow that last shit that you like. Okay, that thing from the last movie, and now okay, this is how they do it, and then like okay, don't forget that because I agree,
Yeah.
it's a lot. But
So, and then my
It's
one
a-
other complaint, and this is kind of a spoiler to be honest, but I'm going to say it anyway because I think it's important, is the amount that Leia was in that movie was egregious, I think. Like,
I thought we needed to see. I don't want to.
no,
spoil
here's the
movie
thing.
either.
She's not
The ending,
alive. She
though.
wasn't alive for any of the
I-
filming of that movie.
The filming that's her being filmed from episode 7 though.
Yeah, but
I know.
It
but
was
it's hard
to
because
watch.
I really don't want to spoil,
Yeah.
but there's a thing with her character.
yeah,
That
there
at the
was some
end,
important
you know,
stuff,
at the
but they could have
yeah.
done that in like a short little segment and just
True.
had it be over with.
What's your problem? That fact that she was dead, or that like they just overused CGI to bring her
I just
back?
thought it was
The actress was-
disrespectful, like
yeah,
that they're just
Oh,
using
okay,
her
so it's
likeness
respecting for
like
you.
blatantly, like as if they're like, we don't need you to be alive to do this movie.
Nice.
I mean, her
um,
family probably got a gagillion dollars, but yeah,
That's
I
true.
yeah,
That's all that matters.
is money.
her daughter's in the movie. I'm pretty sure,
That's
Oh,
all that
wow,
matters.
That's fun.
which is cool. But yeah, anyway, those are my feelings about Star Wars. Other than that, I actually thought it was pretty badass. Hey, it's
Yeah.
Zach.
All right,
Star
moving
Wars?
on. Moving on. Let's
Ew.
not talk about Star Wars. I don't want to spoil anything. I'm scared.
Poppy. Poppy
Oh, hey, it's
Pendle.
Poppy. Hey, what's up?
Hey, Poppy.
Okay, so hopefully Vince fixes Star Wars and fixes his dice. Dude, my light's freaking out. Hold on, I gotta unplug this shit. Ugh. There we go. That's better.
All right, let's get into the meat of it.
Yeah, let's move on. So the Nathan Drake collection, which is the first 3
The good ones.
Uncharted games, that's free on PlayStation right the fuck now.
I highly
If
recommend it.
if you have
at least-
PlayStation Plus, yeah.
I highly recommend at least like if you don't want to play all 3, at least play the second one if you have to play just one because it's like a really good game. I think.
Hmm.
I mean, they're all good. The first one's pretty basic, but
Yeah,
I think the fourth one is not worth playing. Those 3 are good though.
yeah.
Debatable.
But yeah, it's free if you have PlayStation Plus this month, so that's pretty awesome.
That's cool.
Yeah. I'll probably check that out because I actually have not played the first 3. So
If you're gonna go for it, then I would just do those. Yeah,
Mhm.
you'll have fun. Yeah. You did play the new one though.
I watched a lot of playthroughs. I watched a lot of Let's Plays.
You'll
Yeah.
like these more then. Yeah.
Yeah.
A lot. Yeah, these are fun.
I really liked the new one. I thought it was pretty.
It was just the same thing over and over again to me. Maybe it's because I had
Whoa,
played.
what's up with your
from a-
mic?
Oh, he
Who?
put his face right up on it. I think is what.
Yeah,
was on his mic.
I did. Yeah. Is it more?
No, you're good now. You're
I
good.
can't hear my ears.
Okay. Okay. Yeah.
Yeah.
There we
All
go.
right, much better, much better. Okay.
There we go. There we go.
Oh, you're good, dude. It's okay. Hope no one's
No.
wearing headphones.
I was.
Yeah, it's all good. And then the last bit of news we have for the week. Actually, we got 2 more bits. One is community suggested. But people are freaking out because a lot of Final
Details.
Fantasy VII was leaked. Apparently, there were some demos that included a lot more of the game than they should have.
I'm sorry, it
and-
was leaked, you said?
By
Yeah.
whom? One of
Who
the guys.
cares?
And that's what I was saying because
I think it should.
the game's been out. The game came out in 1997.
The whole
The
game is
spoiler-
Give me
are-
the shit.
Like
Yeah.
I'm sure there's. I'm
Who
sure there's.
honestly is like you're upset about like, oh my god, like probably the most retarded
that's
stuff
the
ever.
stupidest thing. That's like saying they spoiled gameplay of Link's Awakening, like that Ganon's in it or some shit.
Right.
Like,
Yeah.
no, wait, that game came out 20 years ago. Like,
Yeah,
guys
I just thought it was
fucking dumb.
hilarious,
Yeah.
and so I decided to include that because yeah, the funny thing though is this: some of the people that are looking forward to this game might not have been alive in 1997. So
Oh,
Yeah,
wow, I didn't
maybe
know
that's
that.
why.
Oops.
I don't know.
Whoopsies.
Yeah,
Forgot about that part. The ending
Right.
is so good. Can we just say that? It's like one of the best games ever.
yeah, it's a great game. It's definitely a great game.
They're probably gonna ruin it for sure. Like, I'm almost positive they're gonna ruin the effect. Like,
You think so?
every time-
I don't know.
I don't know
so far,
how-
everything that I've
know.
seen looks freaking amazing.
Okay, so I played Final Fantasy 15 and I loved the combat, but it was like I can only put so much into it, and there's like no replay value for me. And I was like, Final Fantasy 7 though, like I can't explain why the combat and everything felt like it just became more and more like fresh.
So there's like
just how
3
they
different
was set
combat
up.
modes that you can do,
Yes.
right? You've
Once
got like
yeah.
you've got like the full like real-time combat. You've got one that's like an assisted real-time combat that's like has
And then
some
there's
like
stop,
choice, and then
right?
there's the classic combat system, which is like the original. You know, so you should theoretically be able to switch between the 3, whichever you prefer the most. So,
I was at the one where time never stopped. I don't know which one that was. Like, no, you know what I mean? Like time would always keep going. So
oh,
I'd
I'm
have to,
talking
like,
about
go as
I'm talking
fast as
about in
possible.
like the new
Oh, in the new
new
one?
version,
Oh.
right? Yeah. So like the original
So you could
only
do it
I
like
think only
that,
had
though.
one mode.
Oh, that's
But,
true. Which
yeah.
was that mode? Okay.
Yeah.
I would play like that just to be like old school. But it's like okay, so the combat is open world RPG. So like you just run around and slash people instead of pressing an A button and choosing a move basically.
It's yeah, I can't do
That's why I'm
I can't do it
confused.
justice explaining it. You've got to like go look at like the combat demos, but it's much more complicated than that, right? It's much
Okay,
more
good,
complicated
good.
than like it looks good though.
excited.
So
I'm
I think
excited.
it's worth checking out.
If they
But you
do it
should be able
justice,
to
yeah.
if you don't like that more real-timey combat, you can go back to the turn-based combat like in
Which sounds sexy as fuck.
Yeah.
Sounds
Yeah.
more up my old alley.
right.
Old person over here.
So that should be good. I'm excited. When does that come out? Does that come out this year?
Probably not. No, I'm just kidding. Maybe they said 2020 March, right?
Okay, that sounds
I think
right.
I heard that, but I also think they've been pushing it back for like 3 years. So
Oh,
like
more than
literally
that.
3 or 4 or 5 years. Yeah.
Yeah.
I think this is a 10-year project. I think about.
Well, it's also going to be released in segments too, I believe.
God,
Yeah, which is a bummer. But
that's a huge bummer.
it sounds like they're putting in a whole
Oh.
lot of filler, though. I don't know. We'll see.
That makes it sound worse.
Supposedly it's good filler. I don't know.
I don't want filler.
I'm
Like, I wanna
unselling you
play
from the game. Oh, Jesus.
Ah,
Okay,
I put
well-
45 hours into that game, and I thought I was meaty as hell. So like, I feel like any more than that is gonna be like fluff.
That's funny. Let's go on to our last topic. This was a community suggestion from RPD, and this is actually really cool. I'm gonna switch our view real quick. The prototype ROM of Akira, the game for
yes.
Sega Genesis, was found, and
What does
I've
that
got
mean it was
I've got
found, like?
footage playing behind us. So essentially, the game was never released. There was also one for Game Boy that they were making, but also never released it. And some people found the ROM, and it's online now. You can find it. So
We
it's
did it,
not a
guys.
complete game.
we did it, guys.
Exactly. Exactly. It's not a complete
Oh.
game, but what's there actually
Thank you.
looks amazing, and it's almost like
Killed me.
3 different,
It looks great. I'm
at
not
least
gonna
3
lie.
different.
I love
games,
Akira.
Can we
It's
play it?
amazing.
Is it like
He's playing
able
it
to
right
play?
now.
I'm
behind
pretty
our
sure you can
brains.
find the ROM. I think it's pretty broken. From
Where do we
from what
find
I
this ROM?
understand.
What website would I go to?
Just look
I'm
behind your
I'm kidding.
face. It's playing.
I don't have that
Oh,
information. Yeah,
there it is.
There
There it is. See.
Yeah, it's there, but it's cool. Like I can maybe skip through some
What
of
is
this
it,
so we
like
can
a,
see some of the
Final Fight
gameplay.
style? Is it Final
No,
Fight
it's
style?
many different gameplay types. So like one's like this,
yes.
it's like a racing type of
Okay.
game, almost like your head's in the way, but that's a bummer. We can't do
Like
anything
Sonic.
about that. But it
Wait, is it
almost looks like
literally
Road
blocking the whole
Rash
level right now?
on this like on this one when he's
Oh,
riding on the
that's so
motorcycle.
funny.
But then there's
I'm
also,
blocking it
like,
perfectly.
There's
Can't see
like
shit.
there's like a first person section where you're kind of like dungeon crawling in first person.
Ah,
You can
Castlevania.
use some, yeah. Let me skip ahead. Then we've got some like
Doom
side
style.
scrolling stuff, right? This almost looks like old school Prince of Persia.
This looks
side
like
scroll.
Doom. Wait, what are we looking at?
We're looking at the side scrolling stuff now.
Oh, I'm looking at the one where he's in a house. Oh,
Right,
okay.
right. Yeah, that was the first person looking stuff.
Oops, my thing is delayed.
Yeah, you're on delay.
Yeah, now it's like Castlevania. Yeah.
Yeah. So yeah, it's got like several different game modes. It looks like in it. It looks like most of it's split between the first person and the side scrolling. But yeah, I mean, it looks like
fun.
a dope game, man.
I'd say so.
Yeah. So
Yeah, I'd play that. Yeah.
yeah,
that
I
sounds
would
fun.
totally play it. Hopefully, my guess is that ROM hackers will get a hold of it and like fix the broken stuff, and maybe there will be like a fully playable version of this game.
It'd be
I'll have
cool.
a cartridge of it in like a week.
Yeah, exactly. Right.
Probably.
But yeah,
Pretty
I
sweet.
thought I'd share that with you guys.
That was really cool.
Really
Yeah,
cool. He's
I like that.
teabagging. Do you guys see him teabagging?
Like there was a game that I
I
used to
did.
really love as a kid. I actually didn't get a chance to play it, but I always like wanted to play this game called 40 Winks.
We
Can't-
played that.
Let me finish the story.
All right.
And it came out for the PS1, but was advertised to come out for the Nintendo 64,
I remember
Nintendo?
that. Yeah.
and it didn't. It didn't come out.
I remember that I saw commercials and like it never
But the
came out.
Nintendo version was actually co-op, where the PS1 was not. Anyway, someone found the ROM basically, and like basically made a ROM of it, and like now you can play it. Like,
That's amazing.
On the 64. In fact, they actually brought it back, and you actually can like buy a actual cartridge for it now.
That's amazing.
Yeah,
That's awesome.
That's pretty cool.
Forward to, didn't we play that together?
Yes, we have. Yeah.
That was awesome.
It's a good like co-op game that's like
Yeah.
like a platformer. So
Hey,
it's not
speaking of
that's what I
ROM hacks
thought.
and co-op, again,
that's
something I didn't put in the notes, but you'd be super interested in this. Someone made a hack of Mario 64 that gives you split screen play that can be
Wait.
played on an actual Nintendo 64.
Wait, what?
Yeah. It's
He put
it's
a
pretty
wad
cool.
on it. He put a wad into a cartridge, basically, Colin.
Yeah.
That makes sense. Holy
want
crap.
that.
Theoretic
I
or
need
like supposedly
that.
it suffers from a lot of frame rate issues when
Okay.
you are playing
I
split
need
screen
that.
on the actual native hardware, but it's doable, which is kind of cool. So
Wow,
I thought I'd
that's
throw that
super
in there.
cool. That's incredible. I need it, and I will pay money for it.
How much is that?
I don't know. I don't think it's
Are
on
you-
sale right now.
I will buy it. Whoever's listening, that's makes just DM me.
That's hilarious. If you guys want to talk about the game of the week, we kind of talked about it a little earlier,
Yes. Cuphead.
but yeah, Cuphead. We got it.
Woohoo! You're the one who started playing it. So a
I
new
did.
person's opinion. You go first.
New person's opinion. I actually
Yeah.
loved it. I'm a big
Yes.
fan of
Yay, we got him.
like side scrollers, bullet hell, Mega Man-esque
Contra.
kind of stuff,
Mega
Contra
Man.
stuff. Big fan of those games. Very hard, but
Yeah.
it was fun, and it never feels necessarily unfair.
Yes, that's the best part of it.
So like, and kind of similar to Dark Souls. I hate that all hard games are compared to Dark Souls,
I
but
know.
Dark Souls is
Like,
a good
it's a Dark
example
Souls.
because
It's good.
your mistake, like when
good,
you when you get killed in Dark Souls, it's your fault. It's not because the game is
Yeah.
not
Yeah.
fair, right? And that's how
Yeah.
I feel about
Yeah.
Cuphead, which is cool. So it's really about learning how to play the game correctly for the most
Yes.
part. I did run into a little frustration, which we talked about a little bit earlier as well.
That was just people being shitty though.
Yeah, and that's gonna happen, especially when you're playing something on stream. But it's
Yeah.
all good. Like, I still had fun. I still had a lot of fun. The game's gorgeous. It's absolutely gorgeous. The
Yeah,
fact that
it's all
it's all
hand-drawn.
hand drawn.
Yeah.
It's got the nostalgic
Orchestrated.
music
Even
and
apart
everything.
from that though, game's still incredible. Like
Oh,
take
yeah.
away the graphics and the gameplay
Yeah.
core is just, I mean, like
Amazing.
it's amazing. Yeah.
So finely tuned.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So I was very impressed. I enjoyed
Nice.
it a lot. I didn't finish it. I didn't get very far, to be honest with you. I'm
me
definitely
26
going to go back
hours.
and play some more.
Wow, really?
My first
Um,
try was 26 hours, so don't beat yourself up.
Dang. Yeah.
know.
So,
He's
but
like, 20 of those were just doing nothing. So
Pretty much.
yeah.
can't you like beat it in like 4 hours now or something like that?
I can
Like,
beat it in about an hour and 10
Dang,
minutes.
dude.
Yeah.
That's impressive.
He's like,
Yeah.
yeah.
That's so impressive.
Oh,
You guys have anything more to say
It's
about that?
nothing.
Colin, Cuphead.
Cuphead.
Yeah, that's actually it's an incredible game. I really didn't think it was gonna be that fun. Honestly, I
Mhm.
didn't like have like very high expectations for it. And then like when I actually played it, it was like, wow, this is incredible. Like I was blown away like how good it was. and it's like 10 years in the making as well. And they really just made it like feel so chill. And it's cool because like everyone I've like shown the game to instantly gets the 30-second loop and makes it fun. You know, they're like, oh, I can do better. You know, like even people that aren't like necessarily good at games or like play a lot are like, I get it. I get what the game expects me to do. And the controls are pretty minimalistic and simple to like understand. So you're not, you know, not struggling with the controls for very long until you figure it out.
Yeah, I beat the tutorial, so that means I beat the game, right?
Yeah, that's the last boss. Secret.
Yeah,
I agree on all that.
Yeah, I do as well. I think it's pretty rad. We're gonna use this to pivot into. We decided that we'd talk about our top 3 games of the decade. And
yes,
this is Josh's top first pick, not top pick, but first pick.
We're not going in any particular order here.
You're not going in any particular order? Okay. So this is what I have listed for
first place pick, honestly.
Oh, would it? Okay, so it'd be your first place. Why? Tell us about why.
Wait, so we're gonna go first, second, third, or we go?
So we're gonna just like the way I have this set up. I've got it queued up so it's your first pick, then Colin's first pick, then my first pick, then your second, Colin's second, my second.
That works.
So we're gonna go through that like that.
Perfect. Okay, so mine, yes, my first pick. I think the most revolutionary. I've picked this game for a lot of reasons, but overall, best game of the decade is Cuphead, in my opinion.
Dang, that's
I think that's pretty intense. I know. The reason being, I feel like a lot of the more influential games that have already been out, like all the main Zeldas, you know, like God of War, like we had seen the core ones, even though the new one is incredible. But like a lot of those major, I know, but a lot of those major big ones, like Final Fantasies, the better ones that already come out. Cuphead is something that reinvented that old style that like just made it new again. Like I was like Colin, he forced me to play this game, and I was like, I don't really know. It looks like it's an old like game trying to be new, and when I played it, it was that in a good way. I was like, oh wait, it is, but it knows what it's doing, and like it reinvents that gaming like core where you need to be good. Like you were saying, it's always your fault. Like you really have to push yourself, and it has to like mean something in order to beat the level, or else like you're like I can give up. But like when you beat it, you're like, oh my God, yes, I beat it completely. I learned the strategy. That was amazing. Such hard work. And it's just like accomplishment in gaming that's like not seen anymore. Like, you know, like games reward you so easily. Like even Resident Evil, which is like a hard survivor game that they keep making good ones of, like it still like rewards you and gives you more stuff. Like all these new games keep building up your strength. But Cuphead is literally you and your skills and maybe a different weapon, but the weapons are all like balanced completely. So
nice.
I don't know, like I think it's amazing. For me, I think it's probably the most revolutionary. Like the graphics he was saying, gameplay and everything make it, in my opinion, the best game of the decade. Good choice. Overall. Super influential.
You explaining that just kind of like instilled an honorable mention into me.
Yes.
And that is, have you guys played Castle Crashers?
Yes.
Yeah. Okay. So that's not one that I have on my list. In fact, like it just got thrown back into my head. But the way you were describing how it's like a old school game trying to be a new school game, but it really isn't that. It's like a reinvention of that genre.
Yeah.
Dude, that's how I felt about Castle Crashers when that came out.
Is that post 210 though? I think I played that in college.
I think that falls.
Maybe
into the
it's like
10.
right.
It might not. Yeah. You know what? It might be earlier. It probably is earlier.
But we could still add it.
Okay. Well, it's an honorable mention anyway. It's not in my list. So, but that's how I felt about Castle Crashers.
And a huge
re-releases of that game have been post 210.
That's true. I will hop onto that and say that when
Yeah.
I first played that game, it was that same feeling of like, oh my God, this is like a first of all, side-scrolling games were like not done for a really long time, and I'm a huge platforming
Right
fan.
after third-person stuff came out, they were just like
they were
who
like
needs
milking that
side-scrolling?
shit.
Or,
like, oh, PS2.
I mean 3D, yeah.
Yeah, everyone was milking the realism in humans and shit. Like, and Rayman was one of the few things left in that era, and like Mario, of course, and Donkey Kong, not even around at that time.
Right.
But yeah, when this came out, I was like, this is co-op, and it's side-scrolling, and it looks like and feels like an old game. Like, you don't get anything but a little armor and weapons. It's like great, like super fun. I love that game.
I love it too. Colin, do you want to tell us about your first pick here?
What's my first pick?
The one that I have listed was Portal 2. I just did them in order.
Portal 2.
Yay, we played that so much.
That's a great game. It's just, it really.
I want to smash the controller.
The first one was incredible and was kind of like a throwaway game almost for the company because it came with the orange box. Like it wasn't even really a full game. It was just kind of like came with the rest of the box. You know,
It was a test.
Yeah, it was like
It was
a tech demo.
I agree.
Yeah, kind of. Yeah, it wasn't very long at all. Even
Very
like your
cool.
first playthrough. And in fact, it was based upon this game called Princess No Knees.
Yeah.
And there's this princess who didn't have any knees, so she couldn't walk. So she had to use portals to move around. So that's actually what the original Portal game was called.
Oh, cool. I've never heard of that.
Yeah, it's actually pretty cool.
No knees. She's really good at. Never mind. Well, she's always on her knees. What do you want from me?
Oh, man.
She doesn't have any knees, so she'd be.
Oh,
anyway.
jeez.
She doesn't have any knees.
She uses portals to get down there. But anyway.
Anyway.
So
You guys
anyway,
are going
this game
to hell.
came out and like was like a kind of like
Apologies.
amazing like hit game.
Yeah.
And the second one, I was like, how do you make a game even better that you've already like created? Like, how do you enhance it? But like, don't just play the same thing over. And this game was like an example of a great sequel that, in my opinion, was better
Yes.
than the first because it's first of all, it's longer, has a more intense like storyline that really like grabs you and keeps you making like want to play more of it. And then like, I
I'm
don't know,
gonna
it's really
skip
rather
to
a
some
game.
actual Portal
Don't-
gameplay.
Don't forget about co-op.
Continue
my friend.
talking.
Oh, and then also they threw co-op in there, and it wasn't even an afterthought. Like the co-op is by itself incredible.
It's
you
a
know,
core
like
game. Me and Colin
Yeah.
spent hours playing the co-op.
yeah. So I mean,
Insane.
I don't know. That felt like a really influential game in terms of like what you can do with like story and like a minimal like concept for a like because all it was portals, right? Like that's the core like concept of the game. But then you have an entire story that's based around it. It didn't even need to be there for the game to be fun, but like really added a lot to it, you know. So that was
Yeah.
kind of cool to me. I thought that was a pretty amazing game, and also influenced a lot of my videos I've made as well. Like I actually have a video that has like almost 1 million views now. That's based on
Wow.
Portal, you know.
Yeah.
So,
that video is
yeah,
amazing.
that
Can you
video
pull
is
that
awesome.
up?
You guys are gonna hate me. I've never played Portal in my life.
It's okay. Oh, we're a little sad, but
I've never played it for 1 millisecond. It looks cool. It looks interesting. It just
it's
isn't
like
something
it's a
that.
puzzle adventure.
Yeah,
If that makes sense. Yeah.
yeah. It's not something that like at the time. I think at the time this came out, like again, you guys are gonna hate me. I think I was playing like Call of Duty Modern Warfare.
Call of Duty,
Yeah.
nonstop.
sure.
Throw up. Yeah.
Pretty
I'm
much.
just kidding.
That's pretty much the only game I played back then.
cool.
Which I'm ashamed to say. Little embarrassed to say.
It's okay.
But yeah, especially watching this gameplay right now, I really enjoy puzzles. I've got a Rubik's Cube right here.
Oh,
like,
yeah. This
Oh,
is
you'll
a
love
puzzle
it.
game.
This stretches your mind. You
Yeah,
look at
yeah.
one room and you're like, this is literally one room and I have one tool to get anywhere.
Mhm.
Like, let's do
Yeah.
it. Like it makes your mind move in different directions. It's really cool. And the co-op is nuts because it makes you utilize two people with these abilities. And now
Right.
you're like using each other to get through this massive puzzle. And some of them were so hard we like stopped a bunch of
Yeah.
times. Some of them
My
were
God.
so hard. It's incredible.
I know. That
And
was
we ain't
really
no
fun.
dummies.
Right.
I bet if
I'm
we played
not.
it again now, we would,
Josh is.
I bet it would
Wow.
be a lot easier now.
Hey,
I read some books instead.
that's good. We're all so proud of you.
Thank you.
Yeah, no,
Right,
it
here's
looks
a
like a
hoop.
dope game. I can totally see why you picked this.
Good call. Your
Yeah,
turn.
I think it's a good call for sure. I'm very interested in playing it. There's a new game. I have no idea what it's called. So sorry. But you may have seen trailers for it, or like I don't even know if, to be honest, I don't even know if it's like a fully realized game or maybe just a concept. But basically, you have a camera and you take pictures and it prints out a Polaroid, and then you take that Polaroid and move it in front of
I've
you,
seen this.
and
Game
then
with a
that
camera?
becomes part of the environment that
What
you
is
use
that?
as a
What the
puzzle.
fuck? It's
I
Yeah,
have
it's
no idea. I've seen
very
it like on
creative.
Twitter. It looks
AR
so
Game Boy
cool.
camera style thing.
No,
very
no.
weird.
It's all
It's
in game,
nuts.
so it's not like
You
you have a
can't-
physical Polaroid.
There's no way to explain it without seeing it.
It's so
Like,
cool. Well,
I
I just
guess.
explained it.
Can you pull it
no,
up?
that's not, that doesn't.
Yeah, no,
pull it
you're
up
right.
for us?
Man, I wish I knew what it was called. I would put up a video right now. I'm gonna
I don't think
like
it's a video. I don't
try
think
and
it's a game.
find
I
that
think
game
it's
this
someone who
week.
just made it
Wait, is
up.
this your
Maybe
game
like
of
a
the
tech
10
demo.
Is this your game of the decade? I'm confused.
It's not my game of the decade. No. Let's talk about my first choice for game of the decade.
Yes.
Red
do
Dead
want that.
Redemption OG
Ooh,
style.
ooh.
Red Dead
Second one?
Good
Redemption.
choice.
The first
No, he
one.
said the OG.
Well, it's the
I know.
second one,
The second one.
but it's the first.
What?
It's so Red
It's
Dead
not the
Revolver
first
is the
game in
first
Red,
game in the
yeah.
series.
The
but
first Red game.
Number
yeah.
one, that's pre 2010, and number two, People don't even know about it, so I'm not going to mention it, even though that game is dope as fuck. But the original Red Dead Redemption, which is technically the second in the series, even though it's not RDR2, is such an awesome game. It's the first game that I ever felt like I was playing a movie, which was a big deal to me. Like I really like got sucked into it cinematically. The character development's amazing. The story's amazing. The gameplay is so much fun, and on top of just like the linear gameplay loop, which it's an open world game, so it's not very linear at all. Even though you can follow a story, there's so much else to do in the game, right? I mean, nowadays that's pretty common, right? You've got stuff like Skyrim and Red Dead Redemption 2 and all sorts of open world games, Zelda Breath of the Wild, where you can do all these extra things in the game aside from like the main gameplay loop, right? But this was one of the first games that you could spend hours and hours not playing the actual game, but like having fun and doing other things like hunting, like gambling, all sorts of things like that. Like this game was freaking revolutionary, I thought, and that's why it makes my top 3.
Nice.
I would say that it's well deserving. Yeah, in the decade. Yeah, heard amazing things.
And it still holds up, man. Like you can get.
Great.
I think you can play it in 4K on the Xbox One.
This video looks good.
Yeah, and it's such a good game. I would recommend it to anyone. It also had really fun multiplayer.
You didn't like the second one though?
What do you mean, Red Dead Redemption 2?
Yeah.
Yeah, it did. I didn't like Red Dead Redemption 2 though, to be honest. I felt like there was too much to
I never
do.
played it.
Red Dead Redemption 2
seemed way too big for me.
Well, and it wasn't even that it was too big. It was that like it kept interrupting what I was trying to do, right? Like I would be trying to get from point A to point B, and like I'd have to fucking brush my horse and feed him, and then like cook a meal for myself and do all this other garbage, which I get for realism's sake is a lot of fun, but for gameplay's sake, it is a slog, dude. It just ruins the gameplay loop, I think. Because I'm in the middle of like cooking a 3-course fucking meal after I just groomed my horse, and I'm like, wait, what the fuck was I doing? I was on a mission. What was I doing? I don't even know now. Yeah. So like that was very frustrating. You don't have to deal with that in Red Dead Redemption 1. You just play the game how the fuck you want to play it, and it's a lot of fun. So
that's awesome.
Yeah. Definitely would recommend if you haven't played that game, taking another look at that one. It's amazing. But yeah, that's my first one of my top 3.
Is it me again?
Yeah, Josh, it's you again.
My number 2. All right. Did we do them in the order I gave you?
Yeah, the order you gave me is the order I have them in.
Yes.
So ask again.
My second game is Undertale, actually.
What? Really?
Yes, actually.
That's very surprising.
What would you have picked? No, I wanted games that stretched things in different directions. So I know I could have picked Zelda because it's the origin story of all the Zelda games, but then it only matters to Zelda fans. Damn. Okay, the reason I picked Undertale is because this game really incorporates a lot of what the old games, again, into that kind of shit, whatever, but like incorporates a lot of what those old games like held in essence. And I still see Red Dead Redemption, excuse me.
It's up, I promise.
Okay, good. I'm delayed as fuck.
Yeah, you're delayed.
But the script is so incredible and smart, like it really expects a lot of its readers. Like this is a game that is based like solely in this complex gameplay that requires you to both read, like observe your environment and make decisions that like affect your world completely. I'm just going to spoil the game completely, but a huge reason the game is so incredible is because like the decisions you think you're making that are good are actually bad, and it has moral outcomes, several endings and all that shit. But it ends up teaching you so many different things. I don't know. I feel like this game is really awesome. It's easily one of the best scripts I've ever read. And the fact that it incorporates so many things from old games that just make it so strong.
Yeah.
I feel like it's a must play for anyone who's like a huge fan of any old school RPGs or just any well-written games at all.
I was going to say, I've never played it, but it like every time I see gameplay, it just like really rings of the Mother series.
Oh
right?
yes, it's
Earthbound.
massively
Yeah.
inspirational of Earthbound.
Yeah.
That
Yes.
obscure like a scary friendliness almost.
Mhm.
Like the first character you meet perfectly emphasizes that actually.
Isn't
like
he supposed to be
everything.
Ness basically? Like,
Yes,
I'm not
the main
kidding.
character is supposed to be like Net. No, Sans
No,
is
the
supposed
dead
to be
thing
Ness.
is Ness,
Yeah.
Yeah,
right?
Sans. And his name is like Sans, like Comic Sans, and he always
Mhm.
tells these obscure dark jokes. And you
Mhm.
almost want to like laugh out loud at these horrible jokes just because it's like so eerie and like dark, and you're like, holy shit, that's so awesomely written, and you like even want to say that out loud. You're like, that's so great how they did this, like homages and amazing like writing, and it goes there in different ways. I don't know how to explain it. It's only 10 hours long, and there's 3 endings and so many different ways to play it. I would highly recommend it to anyone that's a fan of anything I just mentioned.
Oh, dude, you just made me think of another honorable mention.
Bring
I
it.
don't think this is I think this is also earlier than 2010, but some of the sequels weren't, so I'll throw them in there. The Way of the Samurai series. Have you guys ever played the Way of the Samurai series?
No.
I think I've heard of it. Give me
Okay.
more.
So
Yeah.
Way of the Samurai, the original one, is a short game. You can beat it. In fact, any run is, I think, maximum like an hour, right? But usually like 30 or 40 minutes. There's several endings. There's multiple endings, and it's almost like, it's so hard to explain, but it's almost like a condensed version of Grand Theft Auto set in like
Ooh,
a samurai setting.
sounds
right?
cool, actually.
And the thing that made me think of this is how you were saying every little decision you make affects the outcome.
Yeah.
There's like 20 different endings, and
Yeah.
within like an hour long game, right? And so like you can replay the game several times and just do, you know, minutely different things, and it's going to affect the outcome of what ending you get, right? The subsequent games are longer. Like Way of the Samurai 2, I believe, was anywhere from like an hour to 3 hours long, right? And then Way of the Samurai 3 and 4 were closer to like 3 to 5 hours long, but the same thing applied. Like you were in this little sandbox town, and you were this wandering samurai that came in, and you have to meet all these different people, and all of your relationships and conversations and interactions affect the outcome of the game, and it's so good. There's so much fun.
And even calling back further, have you ever played Chrono Trigger? This is definitely not the
Yeah.
last decade.
I have.
But like,
hold on. You can keep talking. I'll be right back.
But like, just to reference that, like right in the beginning, like there's some food on the counter, and like you eat it or you don't eat it, and if you eat it, you go on trial later in the game, and an old man's like, that jerk stole my food, he ate my lunch. But if you don't eat it, like that doesn't happen, maybe something else happens. Like you like pet a cat, and the cat comes in and he's like, that guy assaulted me. Like, I don't remember, but like everything you do and everyone you talk to affects that one scene in the game. And that's like, and I think there's 8 or 9 endings to Chrono Trigger. This is like a 20-hour SNES game, so super.
Oh yeah. Adam played this. He talked about it. You like
This
fight
game
the
is
boss from the
amazing.
get-go, can't you, or something?
You can fight the boss right off the bat, but I don't think it matters. I don't think you can beat it. Like, I really don't, unless you glitch it, which you can, of course. Right? Can you beat it right now?
I don't know. I've just heard about
But it's
this
all
game.
about how
Found it.
time
1
is
second,
at all
guys.
times. So like, there's a time hub even that leads to all time. So it just shows that time is all relative. It's really sweet.
I've heard that really good things about it. Yeah, I just
Amazing
never played it
game.
myself.
Not the last decade, but it's just cool to see how games are still doing that kind of stuff.
So
Right.
I have
Show us.
an original Japanese Chrono
Oh!
Trigger cartridge.
Give me that.
I also have a boxed version of this too. I've got a boxed version of this, like in the box with the manual and everything, like the original Japanese cartridge.
That's godly.
So,
Do you have a Famicom?
What's that?
Do you have a Super Famicom?
I do, yeah.
What?
I do.
Holy shit. That's one of the best games of all time, I would say.
Yeah, it's dope. I think it's Colin's turn.
Colin, second favorite, most evolutionary decade.
I think it's gonna be Dark Souls 3. I don't know. That was
Yes.
just an incredible game to me. Like, I haven't played a game like that in a long time that really just made that much of an impression on me. Like, I remember, like, I was really hesitant to play that because, like, I'd heard, Dark Souls is really hard, makes you really mad, makes you rage. And I was like, I don't play games to rage. I play games for fun and, like, to enjoy them. And, like, I don't mind a challenge every now and then, but I didn't want to, like, I just heard like the rumors, like it kind of comes with its own little like reputation of like these are really hard games, and like every game, like you said, is like based upon like this is the Dark Souls of whatever,
exactly,
and it's like I'm good, and I didn't realize like these games were more than just like troll games. Like I thought that's what they were. They're just like big troll games that you just like get upset about. That's all you do is just get, frustrated that you're playing this shitty game.
There's a little
like
bit of trolling. There's a little bit of trolling in the Dark Souls
PvP
game.
is
This
the only
video
thing
that
I
I
don't
found sucks.
The PvP is the only thing I don't love about it, honestly.
I don't know. Yeah, I get that.
But continue.
I don't. I think the trolling comes from the fact that like they basically look for things that they probably have like a lot of test runs, I'm guessing, of people like that would like play the game and they look for ways to fucking kill you. It's like, okay, people do this a lot. Let's find a way to kill them, So it's a lot of like trial and error for sure, which
that's fair.
The best part of the game. But like, I don't know. I feel like that game was just incredible because of the story really was like blew me away because like every single part of the game and the gameplay are intertwined. Like there's no moment really, except maybe a few little hiccups here and there, that you're not like doing something that's part of the lore of the game, like if you look into the lore and like why you're fighting these bosses, like there's a reason for everything. There's a reason for every item in the game. Every item comes with some kind of like information about it.
That's why it boggles my mind that you don't like Metroid games.
Yeah, I can't believe you don't, honestly, because you're literally describing Metroid Prime.
Describing Metroid games. I love it. It's
he
so
doesn't
funny.
like side scrollers, but he watches me play Metroid Prime and he hates it.
I'm sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off and attack you, Colin.
The third person aspect is amazing about this because it lets it be more like a chessboard, which I think is cool. Like your character is like a chess piece in Dark Souls is how I view it. Like that first fight.
That's a really great way to look at it.
Yeah, when Colin was like, here's your guy. He told me like what to collect and like how to like fight and stuff. And then he was like, here's the first boss, go. I'm not going to help you. And I was like, okay, let me just figure it out. And I die like 5 times. And then when I finally figure out how to beat him, I'm like, you literally have to place yourself correctly at all moments.
Yeah. I beat the first boss first try when I played this.
That's amazing.
But let me just say, it was right after playing Sekiro, so I was like, my reflexes were sharp.
I had never played. I played Demon Souls and returned it immediately first day, and then Dark Souls 3 was the first thing I played.
I used to play a ton of Demon Souls and Dark Souls 1 with a buddy of mine. An old buddy of mine used to play the living shit out of those games, but we cheated a lot, right? So like, you could easily back in the day. I don't think you might be able to do this in the later Souls games, but in those games, you could basically you could duplicate souls, right? You could trade items and duplicate souls. And
that's incredible.
Yeah, and so we would duplicate souls and just level ourselves the fuck up and then just juggle enemies, and it was a blast.
Yeah, that sounds amazing.
I don't know. Yeah. I just felt like this game was had a profound effect on me as well, because here's the other cool thing too was it really gave me perspective on people's lives as well. And it sounds really weird, but it gave me a perspective on people's lives because in the game you die 1,000 deaths, right? And it explains the lore explains that it's the idea is that no one can die in this world, right? But every time you die, you lose a bit of your humanity. So you're basically going through life just dying over and over. Every day is just literally killing you,
right?
And then you run into people who are basically like you, but have just given up on life. They have a broken dagger. Yeah. They're literally zombies almost. They're not, and they're worshiping false gods. They're just praying to a god. They're scared of you. But if you attack them, they'll attack you as well, because what else do they do? They want they're animals at this point. And so I don't know. I just kind of have this respect for or not respect, but this eye-opening experience of people go through life like this in real life, and people die every fucking day, in their jobs and what they do, and depression. And I don't know, I just made me think there's probably more to this game than just it's a fun, clever game. It's this is
I usually
humanity.
Fight things with giant wormy fucks crawling out of their heads on a daily basis as well.
But to jump on that, I feel the presence of the bosses, like Colin's saying, it's the weight of the world, basically. You see these insane bosses and you're like, damn, that's evil as fuck. I am fucked. How do I beat that? And it's just so intense. And when you overcome it, it's okay, you can do it. It's
Colin,
you're saying the evil in front of you.
Yeah.
That you have to overcome.
That's a really profound way to look at it, Colin.
That.
Honestly, I've never really looked at it like that.
That's how I viewed it. I don't know. I think I was going through a moment in my life where I was seeing things differently, and it kind of just lined up with my worldview and viewpoint about people and things, and how people are, like
Mhm.
people die every day in their jobs and like like it's depression, failed relationships, whatever. And
Sure.
like
Never been there.
and so like they basically, you run into people that are just like you see in people's eyes like the soullessness, like the idea that people have just given up on life, and it's like it's really sad,
Yeah.
So like I would almost like didn't want to kill people at that point. I'd run up to like enemies that were like not attacking me, but like also were like free souls, and it's like do I even want to kill this person? Like this is kind of like almost well, of course it did, but like it's just like the people on screen right now I'm watching like these kind of are like the lost soul people. They're still kind of fighting a little bit for something, you don't really know what, but they're pathetic, like they don't have any real weapons, and like their swords are broken a lot of times, and a lot of times they're just kind of like cowering in fear. So
yeah, I like it, man.
I survived my job long enough to escape freedom. He actually is retired now, so he'll tell you how many weekends that he's been retired for.
Awesome.
Blink.
Yeah. That's awesome. Colin, you've like I love these games as well. They stress me out sometimes, but like I do enjoy them. But you gave me like a newfound respect for them, actually.
Yeah. Well, Adam even said he goes, it's not like I'm playing a game. It's like I'm going on an adventure with my friends, and like that's what we do every night.
Well, that's when you're playing co-op. When you're playing by yourself, it's so different. It's so different.
It's scary.
I played the entire game for the most part co-op, and that to me was like probably not the best way to play the game, but like it was for me the most fun. That's what I wanted.
Yeah.
I wanted a game that was fun,
Yeah.
That is a lot of fun.
I recommend it co-op.
Yeah. I've mostly played these games, other than like I said with my buddy back in the day, by myself. I played this. I played Neo. I played Sekiro, and they can be very soul destroying, but they're also nothing is more satisfying than when you overcome something, that you didn't think you could. Right, like when you overcome something that's like incredibly difficult. You feel so accomplished, and that's another beautiful thing about this style of game.
Agreed. Yeah.
Let's move on to my second choice, which would be Pokemon Black 2. I know this is a weird choice. A lot of people haven't played Pokemon Black 2 or Pokemon White 2. I bought Pokemon Black 2. I don't even remember why. I just was like, I want to play a Pokemon game, so I picked it up. This game is so slept on. It's so good. It is the best Pokemon game, if you ask me. I think that story-wise, it has so much more to offer than any other Pokemon game. The gameplay is just fun. The environments are cool. Like it's got like a blend of like 3D, because this is one of the later original DS games, right? So we got like 3D environments, but like your sprite is 2D, and obviously the Pokemon are 2D as well, and so like it's very visually pleasing. The characters in the game are so good. Like I've never questioned the morality of a Pokemon game, or like being a Pokemon trainer like I did when I was playing Pokemon Black 2, right? Like that wasn't any, like when you're playing any of the other Pokemon games, you're just some kid who's going on a quest to be the best. Like no one ever was.
This is more Fate of the World.
And this is more Fate of the World-esque. Yeah, exactly. And it's so much fun. It's so good. Like, if you have not played this one, definitely go back. My copy was unfortunately eaten by my dog.
I've seen that happen.
And it's a real big bummer. Here, I'm going to skip ahead in the gameplay so you can kind of see like the overworld a little bit. Let's see if they're walking around anywhere.
That's a good one.
Oh, the gyms are really cool too. That's another thing that's kind of revolutionary. And I guess that this was in Pokemon Black and White, like the first ones, because I believe the gyms are the same, just different gym leaders.
I was about to say, what's the difference between 2 and 1?
Story, really.
Oh, okay. Is it a sequel?
It's a sequel. It's a sequel.
Oh,
but you don't have to have played the first one to understand what's going on in the second one. Yeah.
It's the only Pokemon sequel ever. Right? That's always a new saga.
Yeah, well, so kind of pseudo. Like I think Pokemon Yellow is technically a sequel.
It was a remake, I think.
No, maybe I don't know. Pokemon Green or not Green. Pokemon Emerald, I think, is a sequel.
Is it? Maybe.
I don't know.
Never played
That
Emerald.
stuff. But what I was gonna say about the gyms is they're like way bigger and more interactive than gyms in previous games as well, which is a lot of fun. I don't know. I just think it's a fantastic fucking game. So what was that?
Just compared to Sword and Shield, it's pretty fun.
I haven't finished Sword and Shield. I still need to. Yeah.
So good.
Yeah, I still need to. But yeah, I mean, this came way before Sword and Shield.
I know. Yeah, this inspired a lot.
Yeah, it did,
sure.
and it's such a good game, and like.
Looks amazing.
Like I said, beyond everything else, it's the story. The story is just so much deeper than literally any other Pokemon game.
Yeah.
So definitely check that out
A cute little Growlithe.
if you can. And then, yeah. So what's your final choice?
Oh shit! My final choice. All my games were like retro picks, I feel like.
Kind
But
of.
my final game is Hollow Knight. I know this is a game I was like hesitant to even play as well.
Are all your games also indie games?
They're all kind of indie games,
Mm-hmm.
yeah, I would say. But in my defense, they all have like a big production like behind them. Like Cuphead was the years of production.
There's
Undertale
nothing
was,
wrong
like,
with
10
indie
minutes.
games. Indie games are awesome.
I didn't want to pick anything like
Yeah.
Skyward Sword was on my list before, I'll be honest, but I'll just shout out real quick. Origin Story of Zelda is really all I was gonna say though. So like
Right.
I was like, that's not really creative enough. But Hollow Knight, I feel like, is really amazing in how it reinvents something, and it's in a different way than the other games reinvent. So in this one, Metroidvania is like not something that is even ever done really anymore. Like Metroidvania games were kind of died off. We usually see like a small castle. You can navigate the whole castle. You know, maybe there's a few extra caverns and whatnot. It's great. Hollow Knight is a near endless map of zero fucking direction and all at your own skill and knowledge base. Like it's just such an incredible journey that you go on, and it gets darker and more intense. And some areas I was like genuinely like, I'm scared to go in there. I probably can, but like I'm scared. Like I need to like learn more. Like there's so much unexplored stuff. It's one of those games where the lore is like Dark Souls, where like you see some death or something happen in the environment and you're like, okay, that's the story. Like there's no words telling it, but it's more like I see it. And that's just something raw in a game. And it was very much like Dark Souls, where you lose all of your literal souls. Like you have soul energy in this game too. You lose it like all the way in the cavern. You don't have a map and you're like, man, I'm fucked. I just lost all that hard work. And it's just like, it's a really intense. I feel like, is it the same people as Dark Souls? If not, it's like really closely like that same feel is like from that, I feel like, but it like reinvents the Metroidvania feel along with that. I don't know.
Nice.
That's one of those games that I was really hesitant and I was like, it probably can't be that good. But it was so good in the end and there's 5 endings apparently. I've heard people can put like 400 hours into it. And I beat the first ending at 25 hours. I was like, that was incredible. I'm done.
There's a sequel coming out soon, isn't there?
Yes, Silk Song is coming out. I'm very excited for that. And I'm probably not going to put 300 hours into that either. But if it's anything like the first one, and it's going to be hard because that first one had that mystery. It's kind of like reinventing Breath of the Wild. And this is kind of how I'm nervous about Breath of the Wild 2, is because that mystery of the world, and you're like, oh, everything's so new. But now that we know how to explore those tunnels, and even if they're new, like we kind of know not to fear, it's not that same like experience anymore. So it's hard to reinvent a game for the second time like that.
Right.
If an example is in Breath of the Wild, you see these mountains and whatnot, and you don't know how to overcome them, whatever. But now in the second one, you're like, oh, look, mountains and stuff. I'm just going to like start climbing and do it. It's like not a mystery anymore, even if it's a new area. You're like, I've kind of done this old shebang before. And I feel like that's the obstacle to overcome with the second Hollow Knight. But I heard it's going to be like easily overcome. They're saying like it reinvents the first one in a whole new way. Awesome. But for me, the first one was really revolutionary for new gaming. Yeah.
Nice. I'll have to check that out. I've never played it.
It's so incredible. Highly recommend.
Colin, do you have a final choice?
Yeah, I don't know if this was like my favorite game of the decade. Like this one that wasn't like as revolutionary, but it was a lot of fun. Was Mario Maker 2. I was just blown away. You know, the game was
that was my honorable mention.
Yeah,
it was just an incredible game. I didn't realize how much fun I was gonna have with it until I started playing it, and then like even making my own levels was like so much fun. Like I don't know, it's just really fun. It's just so Nintendo, you know? Like
Yeah.
Nintendo always puts out quality work, and I don't know why I ever don't trust them. And I play and I'm like, yeah, this is just so great, you know?
They do
I
always.
don't know why you don't ever
freaking
trust
knock
them.
it out of the
Luigi's
park.
Mansion 2, Luigi's Mansion 3.
Oh yeah. Oh no.
Oh yeah. Paper Mario, Color Splash.
Yeah.
I forgot why I don't trust them. But
Oh yeah.
I gotta
forgot.
agree with this being one of the best games of the decade also, in that Mario's so good for so many reasons. It's like, what was so good about those games? Let's shove them all into one game, make it co-op, make it online, let each other play each other's experiences, make your own experience.
It's online. We got to do that. We got to play together.
Yeah, so we're gonna play together soon. Okay, yay!
Yay.
Yeah.
Oh.
But me and Colin always make each other levels, and we'll put hidden messages and weird shit in them, and we'll be like, don't get the world record on my level, and this. Oh man, I used to go so hard on that game.
That's awesome.
I really, I think that game incorporates everything that's been good with Mario, and like gives it to you as a creator. And if you just want to play, you can play other people's levels that are like just like it was in your childhood.
Yeah, that's kind of how I feel. Like, I'm not really into building levels personally,
That's the same thing,
but I'm
and then I
very into
loved it.
playing it. In fact,
I
like
got more into building.
my
Same.
brother Adam, you guys all know Adam. He makes awesome
is.
levels in
Who?
this game, and like I always
Yeah.
enjoy seeing like his creativity and that kind of stuff. So, so I can totally see why people are super into this. Yeah.
Yeah, I actually didn't think I'd like building as well. I thought I'd just be like one to like play, but like building is actually a lot of fun. It teaches you like how to play games even better, like levels, you know, because like you
Yeah.
understand like what's at play, and like I don't know,
What
it was kind of
takes.
it was kind of neat to like build, even if you don't like build like amazing levels, it was still just a fun element that I actually
Yeah.
found I enjoyed, you know.
You could just be like, oh, this is something I've always wanted to do, like a speedrunning level that's just as fast as possible, but no one's ever built it in this way so that I enjoy it just like this.
Right.
And
Yeah.
like it could just be that. It doesn't even have to be proving anything. Like
Right.
my first few were literally just long jumps that I was like, I want to just jump and land and like jump again, like in between blocks that are impossibly far apart. And it just felt so good to be able to just like launch Mario across the screen over and over again. I'm like, that's great.
That is
Anyway.
awesome.
It's great. Yeah. I love that game. 10 out of 10.
There you
Yeah.
go. There you go.
Yeah.
And then, guys, my final choice. This one is not gonna be a surprise to anyone, I don't think. It's gonna be Destiny / Destiny 2.
I think it actually does qualify pretty well. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, like number one, this game has been going since 2014, right?
Yeah.
And I'm here in 2020, and I'm still playing it. I'm playing the shit out of it. I've probably put more hours into this game than any other game ever.
Wife.
It's the most bankrolled game ever.
Yeah,
I heard
probably is.
Up front was $500 million just because of like the actors and the server length and everything that was going into it.
Mhm.
And now they're still upkeeping it, and with all the DLC, it's got to be the most paid into game.
Oh
like,
yeah,
creator wise,
it's got to.
huge. Yeah.
But it keeps going, right? Like they keep offering more. The story's amazing. Like I know that was a big complaint with Destiny 1, but that's actually what I fell in love with Destiny was the lore, the story, right? Which kind of it was hard to see in Destiny 1 because it's not really in the game in Destiny
They make you
1.
pay for all of the story.
Right? Like it's kind of there, but you have to know where to look to find it.
And your wallet.
Right. Okay.
I'm just kidding.
Well, just like in case you're on the fence about playing Destiny now, about 80% of the game is free.
Yes, that
so
is true.
So that's something to be said. But it just has tons to offer, and especially at this point, there's literally something for everyone. If you like PvP, there's great PvP. If you like, just playing by yourself, you can play through everything by yourself. If you really like raids, doing things with your friends, tons of awesome stuff to do. Oh yeah, if you haven't played through Forsaken, this is kind of spoilers.
Well, for
we'll
me, when I
probably
first
stop
played,
talking about it before anything
when
happens.
I first played Destiny, I was really impressed, honestly, because
Yeah.
it was one of those first person online PvP whatever shooters
Mhm.
were like to me it like reminded me of D&D a lot.
Yeah.
And like little sprinkles, right? You too. Okay, good. I was like, even the characters were like goblin and all that shit, but like how you incrementally level up and everything was almost like a one-on-one like gunfight RPG, like,
Mhm.
and everything is incrementally leveled. And they didn't really do that in shooters before, aside from like,
Borderlands.
not really. Aside from Borderlands, because online it was like trying to be fair.
Mm-hmm.
But now like you get to do that and then bring it online, all this. But that's why I can never compete online. But I did find it to be really, really awesome in the 1-player mode.
Yeah.
Where you just like make yourself incredibly godly.
Right.
It's fucking awesome.
And Bungie's really leaning into the RPG aspect of it. Harder and harder. I think within the next couple years, it's going to be like a full-on MMO shooter, right?
That'd be so cool.
That's kind of what they're going for. But yeah, I absolutely love this game. It's, what can I say? It's so freaking good, and it's been a long time coming, right? Like, it's definitely gone through growing pains, like crazy growing pains, But if you ask me, it's been worth it, and that's why it's my game of the decade, because it really has been amazing. So,
I totally agree with that. Yeah,
that's about it, guys. That's what we have for the week. This has been a lot of fun. Oh man, I didn't think of a game of the week for next week.
Can it be any game from all time? Right?
Yeah, it can be any game.
Let's do Chrono Trigger, since we talked about it.
We could probably do that.
It's too
I'm
old.
probably not. No, we could definitely do it. I'm probably not going to play it, just because of time. But I can definitely talk about that game.
You played it?
I've played it. Like I said, I own the original Japanese version. I own 2 copies of the original Japanese version. So it's an awesome game. We can definitely talk about Chrono Trigger next week if you like. Yeah, let's do that. We'll do that, and then I'll pick one the following week. I swear to God, I had one in the back of my mind, and I forgot what it was, but I'm on the spot now. So I'll just write it down, and I'll have it ready to go for the following week.
So we're going to raid Lord Yeshua, who's playing banjo? Good.
Yeah. We could do that.
We have 13 people in chat. That's incredible.
I know, it's incredible. Does anyone want to watch banjo?
I do. Hey, that's one person.
There you go. He's going to play banjo.
Banjo Kazooie. He's gonna beat the whole game tonight.
Stop.
The whole game?
No, I don't even want to play at all.
What?
He just was trying to make me stream.
That's hilarious.
I wasn't planning on going live tonight.
But
now you're not gonna do it? No pressure, man. Yeah,
no pressure.
You got at least 13 people that want to watch you play this.
Oh, I just showed down to 11. Oh, that's awkward.
Well,
Barbara Ann says banjo.
That's hilarious.
All right, give me a minute.
Cool.
Right, I gotta go.
Yeah, get stuff started up. I'm Paul. Ryugami Sama is my Twitter. You're on my Twitch right now. I stream on Mondays, Wednesdays, and Saturdays. On Mondays and Wednesdays, I start around 6 p.m. And go till around 8:30, 9 p.m. And then on Saturdays, I start around 8 a.m. and go all day. Well, it depends. It really depends on what I'm playing. And then we have the podcast every week on Sundays is where we're at here. So, I'm going to do what I can to also get the YouTube up and going. And we've been in talks about maybe an audio version too. I know we've said this a lot of times, but I'm really going to make an effort this week.
We have them all downloaded already, so we can like slowly release them to YouTube. That'd be sweet.
I don't have them all downloaded, but I can I was thinking of starting with, since this is the 50th episode, Twitch only saves 80 days worth, right? So since this is the 50th episode, I was thinking of just starting with 50.
Okay.
And
Next
going forward.
50.
Just having a fresh start.
Yeah, Adam who exactly.
Yeah, Adam who. Yeah. So yeah, we might do that. But yeah, I'm gonna work on it. If I can upload some of the backlog, I will. But yeah. But yeah, that's about it. And we got Lord Yeshua and 4Gs. You guys want to tell us where you can find yourselves?
I haven't been streaming in 2 weeks.
You can find me if you just stay in the chat. We're gonna raid me.
Yeah, we're gonna raid him.
Everyone follow him so he can get to 1,000 followers. He's like 10 away.
Shucks.
Damn.
Thanks, guys.
Yeah, he's been
Did you
grinding
hit it yet,
hard.
4Gs?
Not
You hit it,
yet.
right?
I'm waiting for you.
Aww.
Nah, I just haven't been streaming because I haven't had fucking time.
Oh, that.
I've been so goddamn busy. I
it's
shouldn't
been
even
so
be here.
hard. I know they're making me stream. But
Do you have your stream up and
I
running?
want to. I'm ready. Yeah.
Ready?
I'm live.
Okay, I'm gonna hit the raid button.
We're getting dumped in, guys.
Nice, yeah.
All right, here we go.
Hey,
And
Josh, okay. It's fine. We'll talk later.
okay,
What's
here
up,
we
my
go.
camera?
Bye, guys. Have a good night.
Bye. Oh, okay, Zach, that sounds good. Yeah.
You've
All
been
right,
raided.
Josh, your camera won't work until you stop hanging out with us.
yeah,
in
you,
Zoom.
we'll have to.
Oh, I just got raided. Holy shit, guys. All right, let me
hilarious.
kill you guys.
All right, I'm gonna end this.
This was fun. Woohoo,
This was
what a good
fun.
one.
See you guys.
Have a good one.